These last 2 years have been quite special, haven't they? For everyone. First and foremost, personally, in our families, for our health, for our communities, but also, of course, professionally. And it certainly feels like an infinite evolution of everything in the field of business, in the field of direct selling. Sometimes even a revolution. Direct selling, like other industries, had to reinvent itself. No interactions in person meant interactions had to pivot to a fully online model. Some companies struggled and then thrived. But what is here to stay for sure is that direct selling is now an omni-channel business. There is increased competition on more fronts than ever. And the post-COVID picture isn't yet quite post-COVID yet. There are still supply chain disruptions. There is still abnormally high demand or low in some areas. And so we all have to struggle with this. The 4 companies in front of you here today don't need introducing, and they all had to take difficult decisions over the last couple of years. And so we're here to hear from them, to hear from their top teams, what decisions did they have to take? What are the lessons from these last 2 years? I'd like to start by turning to you, Angela, at Avon. How has Avon navigated these last couple of years?
Thank you, Bruno, and warmest regards to all of you. I'm sorry I'm not there to take the energy and the insights that I'm sure you are going to share in between the breaks and now in these panels. Looking back, obviously we are living maybe the most interesting times. You would know Avon, it's a 135 years company. We've been through 2 world wars, lots of crisis situations that we've managed in different countries around the world. And like many other companies in this room that have a tradition, you would say that you've built resilience and knowledge over the time. However, with these last 2 years, we've learned that there is no playbook and we have to learn with humility and adapt our business model with agility. So what we've learned, on one hand side, we've learned that direct selling could be maybe the most relevant choice nowadays when customers are craving for personalization and they are looking as well for a way to improve their earnings. But on the other side, we see that the entire industry is right now going to a revolution in opening up their channels and way to connect to customers. And they are looking to personalize as well their experience, no matter are they retail or digital players. The mega trend of gig economy as well, it is changing the overall environment. So it's not just the COVID that has changed our environment. It's the overall, I would say, social, political. We see maybe the fastest change that we've seen in the last decades. And I think it's not just us recovering in a post-COVID world, it's us being able to respond to the customer needs, both with the right product, but as well the right experience in a very different environment than it was just a couple of years ago. So
Thanks.
That's it's a very exciting, really very exciting times for us.
Thank you, and we feel your enthusiasm, and we'll explore some of the lessons that you want to keep carrying forward in the rest of this conversation. Melodie, can I turn to you? What's it been like at Amway?
Well, I think that, basically what Angela just said, I echo. What I think that the last 2 years have done is reaffirm that we are a people's business, right? I also believe that what's really important in this day and age is that we embrace a growth mindset. Our industry can be very much change resistant in some ways. Our business partners, we internally can have a lot of orthodoxies or dogmas on how we operate and why we operate the way that we do. And this is the moment to challenge because, like Angela said, change is our reality. And our business is more relevant today than it ever has been and ever will be. And so how do we embrace that change? How do we really empower our business partners? How do we empower our teams to be agile and efficient? And what it's meant for us at Amway is that really looking at things that we were told that we could never do before, and really proactively looking at how we can simplify our business so that we can power our business in a way that helps our business partner grow and prosper. So just to answer your question.
Yeah. What's one example of an internal orthodoxy that you managed to get rid of at Amway, or that you're working on right now?
Well, since day one, I was told Europe cannot be harmonized, right? And we have proven that that is not the case. So it's about how you simplify your business, how do you design for the most impactful outcome, and making choices, deprioritizing, right? And there's a lot of reasons why we've done what we've done. We have a legacy of over 40 years, not as much as Angela has, of course, and within the region. And we made a lot of good choices based on decisions and the conditions of the time, but that doesn't mean that those need to be how we move forward into the future. And so for us as a leadership team, we've looked at how do we simplify our business? How do we help our leaders look, or business partner look across our region without borders? And, yes, that's been tough. It's been tough for our business partners. It's been tough for our teams. And that's why I go back to growth mindset, because if you think about leaders of the future, businesses that are going to thrive, even really resilient businesses, the only way that they can make that happen is embracing change and making it part of how they manage their business.
Thanks. Beatrice, what did it look like at PM International?
Well, very similar to what Angela described, and also Melodie. I mean, first of all, it was like a shock state, clearly, because being a people's business means interactions, meaning having meetings in person, being able to do incentives, doing all this. And this was simply not possible from one day or another. So we had to reinvent our business. We had to reinvent our approach. We had to rethink how we incentivize our sales force. So that brought severe challenges with it, in particular on an international scale, as we're operating in 45 countries, which really didn't make it easy, in particular not in Asia. But however, we had to adapt. We had to change things. The unthinkable had to happen. We had a hybrid meeting, the first one. Wow. I mean, who would have thought this is possible, that people can participate live in an event? Before, it was always you have to be there in person, you sell the tickets, it's all about the getting together, but we made it happen. I mean, it was a great success. And in the end, I mean, this is also something to carry forward for us, because it has proven to be the right thing.
So hybrid is here to stay, isn't it?
For sure.
Yeah.
That is for sure one thing. Also thinking about the economical impact, the environment, sustainability, taking all this into account. I think people have become much more conscious during this pandemic, what they actually do from the carbon footprint, over what is actually feasible. Is it worth it to travel all around the world for a meeting of 2 hours? And that applies for Salesforce as well as for corporate people. I mean, there was a huge rethinking going on in the leadership team as well as in the sales team.
Great, thank you. Michael, you were a vice president at Oriflame. How has it looked at Oriflame, and how have you changed, transformed internally these last 2 years?
I think it's similar to what we've heard before, but I would add that in Oriflame, we were really ready digitally, internally, when COVID hit. So we had a pretty good start, because we just got together as management and leaders and said, we're going to manage this. So there was enormous energy around this. So we had a fairly good start sales-wise. Now, however, sales came in, recruitment came in, but I think what the challenge has been is that leadership has not developed at the same time during this 2 years.
Do you include yourself in that?
I mean, our independent leaders. So I think our focus now is to get back in the field, in-person meetings, hybrid meetings, of course, but we're missing the conferences and these things that drive leadership amongst the field.
Melodie, you want to react to that?
No, I completely agree. I think that, we all talk about digital transformation. We're purely commerce now at Amway. But we are really struggling with building leadership. The pipeline of new people joining our business is not what it used to be. And I think that at the core of who we are a people's business, and that requires communities to come together, work together. And yes, I completely agree that with Beatrice, that technology has enabled speed. How we communicate with the field is much quicker. How we engage is quicker. They can have a 2-hour meeting and energize the organization, but that does not substitute the power of having face-to-face engagement points with our partners, our business partners, and with our employees as well, I would say.
Right. So if direct selling is a people's business, Angela, you at Avon have a legacy of 135 years as a direct selling company, and indeed up until this point, it was a single channel business, and it's now become an omni-channel business. How do you keep being a people's business in an omni-channel world?
Indeed, this is quite a revolution, because on one hand side, we operated for such a long time in a uni channel that it took a mentality shift. And I would say it's still a process with many of our people to grasp the revolution that we need to have in our overall experience that we offer to our communities. And I would say that move would require not just the power of technology, but equally a full end-to-end transformation in the experiences we offer. Because the rest of the players, yes, for example, I would say the way we communicate, incentives, the way we connect, even our rewards mechanisms, they have to be much more simple, gratifying, easy, gamified, easy to follow. Because the rest of the companies right now, with the flexibility of working from home, our leadership opportunity, yes, it's not as appealing as it was before, because there are many flexible, earning opportunities out there. So how we differentiate our value proposition, how we stay relevant, that's really the key question. And how that experience, that we provide as well to our customers, because that's again the point that I think you bring, how you keep this relationship, how you keep this high touch personalization while you open multi-channel. And I think this is where the art comes, and I think this is what is going to differentiate us as direct sellers in the new world, is how we empower our own consultants, our own distributors, our own representatives to create this omni-channel presence, more than creating it ourselves, independent of our people, because then we would lose that person to person high touch, which I would say it's a unique value proposition that our businesses provide.
Right. What about at your companies, now that more jobs are flexible by design, or by nature at least? How can direct selling differentiate itself in the eyes of potential future direct sellers?
Well, I have to say, I mean, we were the first ones doing it. We have a huge advantage. I mean, elaborating on what Angela said, because we were the ones that offered a flexible environment before the pandemic. We were the ones that offered working from home. We were the ones that giving the flexibility and earning opportunity on the side without fixed working hours, an opportunity to build your business with friends and family. And this is now something I think the rest had to adapt to. If they have done it well, has to be proven, because now people start returning to the offices. People need to adapt back into normal routine as such. So we don't have that challenge. So I think we can still play on our advantage of our years of experience being different to the ordinary other business opportunities that are out there. But I see challenges clearly with the omni-channel. I mean, from also legal and compliance perspective, because that's what we mainly experience, as great as it is that our sales force can use more than one channel now, it also brings huge challenges with us. But I think we will hear about this tomorrow in the compliance session.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about that question. I think that we do have to tackle reputation. I think that why Uber or those, gig economy players are interesting to people that are looking for flexibility and side income is because it's new, as novel. They've done a good job kind of coming into the market and offering. Our industry is unknown for the most part. We have a bad reputation. There's a legacy that's behind us. And so I think that we do need to do some, some rebranding efforts to kind of really bring the best forward and also address things that we haven't addressed in the past. I think what makes us unique and makes us sticky, because it's not the money, if we all really reflect, someone joining our business, how much money do they make, right? You need to, 6 years into the Amway opportunity is where we start seeing people even being able to think about a part-time offer, right? It's the community. the community is what keeps people together, that keeps them within our opportunity. We've seen that again and again, every market that I've had the opportunity to work in, especially in Asia, communities is what fuels growth within our business model. And so I think that that is a unique differentiator that I don't see any other gig players being able to offer people that are looking for side income opportunities.
Yeah, can I second that? I think that's so true. And especially the ability to build community in-person events,
Right.
because there are others doing it online, but we are the ones that are used to running big events and motivating people and recognizing people and all the things we've been missing these 2 years. So now more and more regions will be able to come back doing those things that we're good at in this industry.
So indeed, there's a lot that we've all been missing for these 2 years, but surely there's a few things that we might want to keep from these challenging 2 years. Melodie, for example, what would you like to keep from these 2 years at Amway?
I would say we want to continue to focus on health and wellness. That is, part of our DNA. That is our focus as a leadership team, as a company as a whole. We want to continue to focus on building leaders and fueling their communities and operating in a way that we are more reliable to our business partners, right? We have, we're complex, and that complexity leads into sometimes business partners having difficult times working within our environment. So Angela talked about it. I think that we talk about digital transformation, but companies that do it well, it is the leading strategic agenda for the company. And I think as an industry, we need to really not just look at it as a channel, is how we operate. So how do we modernize our recognition mechanics, our compensation, how we deliver products, how we help leaders build online, and then take the best of the past, which is communities that are face-to-face as well.
Great, thanks. Beatrice, Michael, Angela, what would you like to keep from the last 2 years, if anything?
Anything. I mean, clearly what we as PM going to continue is the digitalization. I mean, we're not
Is
going
what?
to,
Sorry, I didn't hear
the
that.
digitalization of our business. We will move on. We're not going to stop here because the pandemic is over, because we can't. I mean, we have to go with the time. We have to adapt to the changes it brought with it and the changes that are coming. So I think these will be the things we're definitely going to continue. The transformation of our business and actually elaborating on the omni-channel and seeing how it's feasible for us in the future, and clearly hybrid meetings, they will stay. There is no way about this that we're going to scrap them completely.
Michael?
Yeah, I mean, we are much more efficient now running Teams meeting across regions and cross time zones, etc. So faster decision making internally in the management. So that we're going to keep. And so balancing this, sometimes it's worth going out to another region, spending a week there, meeting the people. But for the 2-hour meeting, you can do that on Teams most of the time.
Thanks. Yeah, go ahead, Angela.
I loved everything that you've said, dear colleagues. I would keep the agility. I would really keep the agility and that sense of March 2020, when we all got together, and with humility, we tried to learn from the new situation and find ways to co-create together value. And if we keep that spirit, I think all of us as an industry, and especially in my case as Avon, we are going to emerge, continuing to be a choice for our communities.
Thanks. I'm going to keep on this conversation, but if you're here in Brussels, please do start thinking about your questions to our esteemed panel. And if you are joining us online, please start sharing your questions in the dedicated Q&A section on the website. So we know what we want to keep from this time, but is there anything that you absolutely, definitely want to leave behind from your 2 years in the leadership of those 4 great direct selling companies?
Working full-time from my computer. I absolutely detest it. And in fact, the days that I do have the opportunity to work from home and join team meetings, I hate it. At the end of the day, I have anxiety. So I love to be able to be with my team and work with my team. And yes, I completely agree. We're much more agile, efficient, but I really have craved the people interaction side of, running the business and working with our business partners. So that I will gladly leave behind. Lockdowns.
Yeah, I think we all have really missed that and craved that for sure, for sure. What else? Anyone else? All right, if not, I'd be really curious. So this has been a pivotal moment for the direct selling industry, like other industries, of course, but for the direct selling industry in its own ways. And so what does the future look like in the next few years? Are you, for example, Beatrice, you mentioned digitalization. I guess this is some work that PM International is going to keep working on.
Yeah, clearly that is correct. I mean, we're working on our app solutions. We have our smart TV app, which we want to continue and basically building more opportunities out of it. You know, we can do our sales meetings. It's all great. And we try to basically go with the time to also give our sales force what they're asking for to make business easier. They just want to do business only from their iPads nowadays. They don't want any paperwork anymore. So the good old days are clearly gone. You know, so we try to facilitate that. And so therefore we're going to drive change further in PM.
All right, what else other than digitalization? Angela?
It's indeed, I mean, Beatrice is right, digitalization and so much more. Everyone is using digitalization nowadays to connect, and everyone will up their game. I think what's going to really make a difference is us as direct sellers providing more than that. I mean, showing how our meaningful impact on humanity, on planet. So our ability to support our community. So that should be much more visible than any time before. Then it's also about the experience, that gratification, the gamification. So unless we create that personalized experience that no CRM actually can ever offer in a digital space. And the more we articulate this evolution of direct selling into a relationship selling business, into an experience business, into something that it's fun and engaging, I think the better we'll emerge as an industry, as individual players. And to me, that's the future. And it would, as I said even earlier, it would require for us to transform our business models and the way we think about our future end to end.
Thank you. Others, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, digitalization will be a big focus for all of us, but it's somehow, I believe, a hygiene factor to play in the market. People expect the experience they have with Uber or Netflix or so on. So at the end of the day, why will someone buy from our companies? I think we heard from Angela here, to the training on the product, the conviction, and the personal recommendation. That's our superpower. That's at the end of the day, the thing we have. So how can we train our people to really be comfortable in using that? And I think it will be more about organic growth in the future for our brand representatives, meaning the friends they have rather than advertising or paid ad. You know, they will be friend to friend, you know, and growing it that way. So training as much as having a smooth digital experience.
Okay, very interesting on the organic growth point. Thanks. Melodie?
So I think from a company perspective, if I project the next 5 years, what we're going to be focused on is operating as one market. So we have over 30 markets within our sub-region, and every market has had unique footprint and different ways of operating due to regulatory environment. And we're going to be fast tracking an operation to really operate as one market to help our business partners really leverage the potential that our region has to offer. So I would say from an organizational perspective, it's how we operate through a one market approach, and really looking at building in new capabilities and processes to help us be agile, innovative, and progressive. And that's something that I think every company should be considering actively, because as we talked about, technology is changing everything we do and how we do it. From a business partner perspective, is really delivering on the basics so that they can do what they have to do best. And I think that we need to rebalance partnership in terms of what our expectations are from the company to them as they join Amway, and then what they can count on us to do, and making those lines less blurry. And so how do we power our business partners to reach their full potential through a health and wellness solutions and products? And I agree, you know, we do offer so much value to communities. So how do we have more of a visible presence within governments, within the markets that we operate, to help people see what we bring to society?
Thanks. Beatrice?
can just agree with Melodie here on this point, because this is what it's all about. I mean, showing also the rest, basically who we are as an industry, leaving a footprint here and showing our value. And this is exactly where we stand right now. We have to make people aware of it, what direct selling is actually about, changing our image, you know, working on it. I mean, this is also a big project of Seldia, to raise the image, to change the awareness. And yeah, I can only say this is crucial for our business.
So in 2022, what do you want to tell regulators and the general public that direct selling is and is about?
Direct selling is about having an opportunity for everyone, regardless of your education, regardless from where you're coming from, regardless if you're rich or poor, to give you an opportunity to develop something for yourself. A side income, an opportunity, a social environment for yourself. It offers much more than just, you know, a business opportunity. It's actually, yeah, a lifestyle that comes with it.
You know, I think I completely agree with Beatrice. That one thing that I would add, and this is something that I've had exposure to in conversations within AmCham, is that a lot of politicians and government leaders across Europe are looking at how do we enrich our communities. And if you take a step back, we train so many people, regardless if they stay with us or not. We've trained them, we offer them the opportunity to really be empowered and become business owners, right? That woman that is like a stay-at-home mom that never envisioned to be able to provide for her family, all of a sudden is a powerful business leader that can empower so many other people within her community. And so I think that we need to take stock in that. We do so much within our communities, and we don't really think about it in those terms. And so when I was looking at all of the things that they're looking about, like, you know, from companies to contribute, you know, direct sellers pretty much tick the box in every single space, because our business is so complex and so human in nature. And we really don't do enough to broadcast that to thought leaders or politicians within our governments.
Angela, I see you nodding vigorously.
I'm nodding, Melodie. You are absolutely right. And we discussed about it, by the way, in some of our conversations together. It's an opportunity for us at Seldia and with any other occasion for us as direct selling players to co-create a better positioning and together promote you know, the value that we create together for our communities. I think we've been quite shy, yes, especially in the last decade, and we have so much to be proud of. So much to be proud of. That would be a shame not to come together and promote what we believe in globally.
Well, Angela, what would you tell someone who is considering whether to become a direct seller today?
I would say, you know, welcome. This is the right time. This is the right time. It's just that to be ready is to not think uni-channel, not think traditional. This is what I would say, is learn from the best, learn from different industries, from the digital to retail, learn about the customer experiences, have both customer and Salesforce in mind. But for sure, I would say welcome. It's a really very exciting times. And I know it's very painful for many of us because we have to redefine the way we play. But it couldn't be, I would say, a better time for us to redefine how our future looks like.
Thanks. Talking of the complexity and the plurality of what happens in the direct seller's job, we saw during these 2 years that social media turned from a marketing channel to a genuine sales channel, right? And I think it's really interesting to highlight that the very tools that people use in their day-to-day lives are the very tools that can be used for this work, and that because of that, they're very powerful because of their reach, because of the fact that people are already very well acquainted with them. How have your respective businesses taken in this change from social media, you know, as a marketing channel to a sales channel, among others?
I think we have taken some inspiration from our leaders in China with video shopping. So we're bringing that out now in Europe. It's still relatively new to us, but the ability for a brand representative to go online and do a live video show, and the customers can shop without leaving that video presentation. That's exciting, I think, for the whole industry.
I think I may say something very unpopular here. I see social media as being a communication channel. It's about return on investment. What do we want our distributors focusing their time on? Building a social presence, or really building organizations and teams and helping people be successful in our business model? So, we've had mechanisms in China and Asia where we've used social media to be a mechanism to sell products. We have that here in Europe as well. We have share bars and different link capabilities that bring customers into our website and then track the sale of that. I think we should do those things. But going into the influencer space, I don't know how beneficial that will be for us from a revenue perspective. And we don't necessarily have the capabilities in doing that. I think that the new people joining our business understand it better than we do as a company. So for me, social is more of a mechanism of communication, amplification, community building. And yes, there may be some side business, but that should not be the main focus strategically for us.
All right, interesting, thanks. Others at PM International, for example?
So you're not that unpopular. So we're also not that fond of using social media as a sales channel, because we rather see it as a communication tool, and that's how we elaborate and want our sales force to use it, because using it as a sales channel has its ups and downs, and we really don't want to go into or down that road of influencer marketing here, because from a legal perspective, it's quite challenging grounds, and you really don't want to jeopardize anything. You don't want to put your sales force as risk, so it's sometimes better to police things and restrict things, and don't jump on every train just because it's new, it's good. So, and think about it twice, because social media doesn't allow you for these personal touch. That's what we just talked about in the beginning. I mean, it's a person-to-person business. So we want to still encourage people to meet, to get to know each other, not just basically text via Facebook. It doesn't create the same energy levels. It doesn't create the same vibrant business. And so we know it's happening clearly, particularly in Asia. They're much more advanced than we are. But also I can say as PM, we're not quite ready for that yet, that we could do online sales facilitated via social media. We wouldn't know how it works. I can just, say what Melodie said. That counts also to PM.
All right. Angela, do you want to say something? You want to jump in?
I'm on the other camp. So
go ahead. Yes, a debate. We like that.
I'm on the other camp. And again, I think we are all exploring and learning. So it's not about, strong convictions of what's good, what's not bad. We are exploring, and we still use, learning so far, and we are going to adapt as we go forward. But what we've seen is that we do have representatives who became extremely good live streaming sellers. And they are doing it in their own communities, with their own friends. It's not about social media open events to everyone with no personal touch. It's not kind of macro influencers who would just be paid for links with no real personal endorsement. We're talking about our own representatives who have their closed Facebook groups. And when they do extremely successful, we've seen some truly inspirational, with a very good revenue uplift of our own representatives using independent tools, creating live streaming shopping events. And customers want that because they just join for 10 minutes whenever they have time. They don't have to go in a place. They can interact because they feel comfortable in that micro community, and they can ask questions, and they trust the person who does that. It's not somebody remote to them. And I do see a multiplication factor in this kind of using this kind of tools.
Michael, which side do you fall on?
Yeah, well, no, but I agree with Angela here. I don't think influencers, established influencers, they don't have a good fit for our industry most of the time. They can help us build brand as a short-term brand investment, but they don't easily integrate into our model. But our people are micro influencers, so within their own, and that's what I started with, organic. I think you can still do that. It doesn't have to be so many viewers, but it's still a great way to reach out when you live too far away.
You know, I think the challenge for us at least is that, you know, what I've observed is in Asia, our business partners are much more customer focused. So much more oriented and leading with product to bring people into the business opportunity. In Europe, it's the opposite. It's much more business, at least for Amway. Okay, I'm talking for Amway. So you know, that's something that we're working actively to see how do we change through community focus, et cetera. But that makes it very awkward to do online. And so they, you know, yes, they, you know, I think that what you said, Angela, yeah, finding those tools and mechanisms to help them be more productive so that they do see an impact and a return on investment is essential for digital tools to be adopted and amplified. But it depends, I think, on how our business partners build a business, right? And so I think that that's part of the change management approach that we're looking at for Europe, you know, having more balance and people using more product and then becoming business partners. But that will take some time for us.
Thank you all very much. I know that there's already a handful of questions that are being asked online. So I'm going to turn to our online audience first to hear a question. Our colleague Irene here will read out questions one by one. We'll take one question after another for our panelists. And please do start thinking about your own questions here. We'll turn to you all here in the room right after this first question. Irene, what do we have?
So thank you very much to our panel, which was a very interesting discussion. We have a lot of questions, so I will start with a question coming from Devon Foster. It's a question addressed to Melodie. So Melodie, can you share examples of how Amway simplified its offering to create more harmonization across Europe?
So great question. We call it the blueprint. So there's 4 key elements. One is our compensation model. We've launched a new program. We call it Core Plus. Is designed to address some pain points that we've had in our business, namely, you know, rewarding for customer sales, building the right structure, setting up leaders up for success earlier on in the business, and we implemented that. I think the biggest element of the transformation that really enabled us to do the balance of what I will talk about is our commerce platform. So Imran is actually here and he led that for us. And in that, we changed our entry model. So believe it or not, until 12 months ago, we did not allow customers to buy directly from Amway. You had to be a registered ABO and you could then buy from Amway or you could buy directly from a distributor. And we have changed that. We have created the guest customer, the registered customer. We have changed our pricing model and mechanics. And we've harmonized that across all of our markets. So everybody has the same approach, which includes our website. Our website is consistently the same across all of our markets. And so you don't have a different experience if you go to the Italy website to the Spanish website or the German website. Everything is the same. The other element, we changed our contract terms. So that was another thing that was really essential for us to do, to bring common elements across our business. Now we have a contract that is consistent across all of our markets, and it enables us to do a few things, including manage unauthorized sales, right? So we wanted to make sure that we had some teeth and that we could protect our investment and our brands, our products, and really power our ABOs to embrace the right behaviors as they build their Amway business. And then finally, our portfolio, right? We are looking at differently how we manage our portfolio across our markets. Yes, we do have an approach of lead markets, because clearly there's markets that have more potential than others. But for the most part, we're looking at how do we remove the complexity related to our portfolio. Imran, am I missing anything else? I think I covered them all, right? So that's what we've done. So right now in Europe, we don't talk to one market, right? We talk to all of our affiliates at the same time, our distributors. We will be making more steps in the future. We're going to be reducing the amount of languages that we focus on to further support us in agility, right?
From how many currently to how many in future?
I think we have 30 today, and we're going to go to 11. Right? So, we need to be fast, right? Right now, if I want to translate a message, it takes 2 weeks by the time it gets to the hand of the ABOs or distributors. And we want to be able to do that within hours, right? And another thing that has changed significantly is I remember when I walked into Europe, which was very strange to me, I was told our distributors do not want to have meetings that are not affiliated. So we have cross-lining issues. I don't know if you guys have those. Distributors from one organization don't want to be in a meeting with another leader from a different organization. We've said, too bad. We have one meeting, you show up, you don't like it. So we have really broken down a lot of the barriers that we had that drove a lot of need for customization within our business.
Thank you, Melodie. That was really insightful. Here in the room, what would you like to ask our esteemed panel? Please put your hand up and a microphone will fly to you magically. There's a gentleman over there, Antoine. Yeah, over there. Okay, oh yeah, Siobhan, just in front of you. Yep, please go ahead. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, Janusz Potoczny from Polish DSA. You spoke a lot about customers as well as advisors. Did you see any differentiation and how you managed it during the pandemic time between the young generation of advisors, consultants, and old generations of consultants, especially in the area of IT? Because this was very, the digitalization was not so easy for everyone who was an advisor. And the second part of the question is how you will manage it, because you didn't stop recruitment during the pandemic time. And a lot of these people started in internet, making demonstrations of the product. And now you said that you would like to return to the one-to-one meeting. How you would like to convince them, hey, guys, how you would like to train those people that they return to the, I would say, old model of the presentation,
Thank you.
demonstration of the products.
Thank you. A question about generations of business partners. Who would like to take that?
Well, I just want to clarify. I never said that we want to go back fully to the past. I think we said we want to have the best of what we learned through the last 2 years and incorporate face-to-face. So I just wanted to clarify
Sure, no,
that.
Great, thanks. Beatrice?
Yeah, maybe about the generation conflict as such during the pandemic. It was clearly obvious that the older generation didn't find it as easy as the younger ones to switch to the digital media. We tried as a company to keep it as simple as possible. I mentioned before that smart TV app. Once it was installed, it worked. I mean, it was easy to press the button. I mean, how a smart TV works. Yeah, but I mean, we had to kind of simplify the business. I mean, that's part of our slogan, simple, successful. And that's what PM stands for. And that's what we really tried even to achieve during those days. But another good thing is, which we could play on, was clearly that PM has still a lot of generations of direct sellers. So even our older sales force has kids now that are also in the business. So we had a lot of help from the business itself. So that was a good point, and we were quite happy, because otherwise I don't think, some of them would have got a little bit lost during those days of isolation.
Thanks, Beatrice. And Michael, you also mentioned that at Oriflame you had been quite far on the path to digital transformation. Now, I don't know if that included your business partners or not, but how have you experienced that difference of approach between older and younger generations?
No, but obviously the younger ones have had a much easier time. So that it was natural to them, and that has, we have some younger leadership coming up, etc., which is good. And to the question, what happens now? I think we just have to set up so that either you want to work fully online, you should be able to, or you want to work in a hybrid model, you should be able to. Or if you want to go traditional, you should be able to as well. And the way we set up our business here in Western Europe is we have a seamless approach also on the earnings side. If you sell to a customer next door or someone in any other part of the country, there's some VAT difference, but the principle has been seamless. You shouldn't have to think about, should I have this as an offline customer, an online customer?
Right. And I see your co-panelists nodding very much to that. So it seems that everyone is on the same line. Irini, what other questions do we have from online? Antoine? Irini, derrière toi, s'il te plaît. Merci.
So there is another question coming from Imran. It's addressed to all the members of the panel. Do you feel that the business partners have been able to adapt to new forms of recruiting? If so, please give us some examples.
All right, new forms of recruiting. Angela, does that ring a bell?
Yeah, so I think it was difficult at the beginning because we are used to have all these events, prospecting of different, open days, and then would welcome people to talk about the business model, to talk about our product. And then we switched quite quickly to sharing the opportunity through WhatsApp. Then we had to readapt all our materials, just like we have with our digital brochure. We created digital opportunity as kind of an immersive experience that could easily be transferable from our leaders to our leads, to become representatives. It was not the same. It was not the same. We had a huge spike during the times when all retail was closed. And I think all of you have experienced these spikes in recruitment. And now it's coming more to the normal levels pre-pandemic. And we keep now learning that even today, when people are again back on streets, we do not recruit in the same way. The time availability is different. People are looking for different experience, especially Gen Z. They are not going to follow all our traditional steps of recruitment with all the initial steps of trainings. They want everything instant. They want a brief summary, everything. They get it really very fast. They don't want to go and be the downline of somebody who is not relevant for their generation and their needs. So we had as well to reshuffle the way we recruit and allocate these leads in a way that it's making a little bit a more relevant experience for what they are looking for.
Thank you, Angela. We've got a question at the back here.
Robert Cavett, Gen Con. Great panel. Thank you very much. The CEO at Nu Skin, Ryan Napierski, a few months back, said that Nu Skin in the past has been known as a direct selling company, but Nu Skin of the future is going to be known as an affiliate company. Similarly, John Parker, the chief sales officer at Amway, said, while looking to the past and the future, but his comment on a public panel was that Amway's focus in the future is on the retail customer, and distributors that can't get on board with that can quit. And that was almost verbatim what he said. Now, they both said that in context of technology is now in such a place that the field can see that we can provide service and support and cater to the retail consumer without being a threat to them. In fact, we can help them grow their business through technologies by servicing retail customers, both the company and by providing the representatives tools. What is all of your perspective on the focus on retail consumers, and how are you incorporating that into the business model in a new way?
Well, if you don't mind me
Please,
jumping
no,
in.
Amway was mentioned,
First
so
of all,
I was going to turn to you.
I agree with my boss, right? So let me just start off by saying that. And I talked to the fact that our incentives are designed to reward new ABOs joining the business immediately with a 20% rebate for selling products to customers, right? So we introduced the registered customer category, the guest customer. So those are things that we've done in Europe to enable that shift in mindset. But it is tricky, I would say, going back to the earlier gentleman's question about sponsoring. We've seen sponsoring take a hit, a significant hit. I think younger people joining the business are looking for different things, like Angela said. Our message may not be as relevant as it was 10 years ago, right? And I think it takes both the company and our business partners to have a realization that change is needed. I mean, we can do our part, but our business is about leaders, right? And I want to stress that, like, I think that John would say the same thing. Our business, why it works, is about supporting people that join our business to become successful, build communities, make a substantial, make a reasonable income opportunity off of what we offer. And that involves sales to customers, right? And so how we're doing it is we change our compensation mechanics, we've changed our entry model, and we're making sure from a marketing perspective that we have relevant products for millennials. But where the issue is for us is our business partners having that modern way of also adapting how they build the business. And so we see younger people joining, having less stickiness, right? They don't have the patience that we saw leaders having years ago. We also see productivity impacted, right? They're not willing to invest the kind of money that we saw even pre-pandemic into when they joined the business opportunity, right? So we're seeing shifts. And we can do our part, but I think that that's where partnership and co-creation, which is something Angela called out, is really critical for us together to move forward to the future.
Thank you, Melodie. Others? Any reflection on the retail? Yes.
Yeah, no, retail customers are very important to Oriflame as well. And we have changed our compensation plan to cater for that. The expectations on free shipping, for example, at a certain level, et cetera, et cetera. But I must agree, it's a change in the behavior of the leaders out there that have done some things for 10, 15, or even 20 years to change from recruiting everyone as a wholesale buyer, more or less, to saying, okay, I offer this opportunity and I should always go for that as my first option, but I'm not actually choosing. It's the prospect is choosing. I want to be a brand partner, or I just want to enjoy the product. And then we have to be open for that.
And are you building programs into affiliate type programs, preferred customer programs, something beyond just being a regular customer, maybe with a discount?
Yes, indeed. With traditional loyalty programs, etc., that follows the what we call them VIP customers.
Beatrice, you wanted to add something to that?
No, I can just agree to that as well. We have the same. So
thanks. What's the next question online, please?
So an interesting question coming from Cervell. It's addressed again to all panelists. How do you attract the young generation to the direct sales business?
Angela, let me turn to you first.
I don't attract them to direct selling business because then it's already a blocker. What I'm talking about is like share beauty with your friends, and I will make it easy. So we created as well, just like my colleagues here, we're looking at affiliate program just designed for the Gen Z to join with a click, with no upfront investment, immediate access to training, to information, and then enable them to simply share beauty with their friends and gain from that. So I am extremely excited by this opportunity to multiply our impact, but I'm equally very demanding on myself and my team to understand that the needs of a new generation are very, very different. And we cannot take them as granted, assuming that what worked for us till yesterday will work today.
Yeah, others here?
No, I can only agree with Angela here. I mean, the new generation is looking for the flexibility. So this is our advantages in industry because we attract them kind of naturally at the moment, which is a good thing. However, they're looking for something meaningful. They're much more identifying themselves with the product. If they don't believe in your product, they're out. You know, this is very, very crucial to them. They want to do something that makes sense. They want to leave an impact. They want to do something that's sustainable. You know, they're looking in all these aspects that were a bit sidelined, let's say 10 years ago, where we were not really aware of, but nowadays it is crucial. It's crucial to attract new leaders to actually do business with them. So things have, massively changed.
Thank you. Where's the next question in the room, I wonder? Let's see, because I've picked a couple of questions from that corner over there. All right, you go. Yeah, absolutely. Please, Siobhan, over there, the gentleman in the white shirt. Would you please introduce yourself?
Thanks so much. Yeah, Jonathan Riley from Memory Crystal Law Firm in London. I was interested in Beatrice's comment that the last couple of years has not all been about COVID, and she mentioned sustainability in the environment. And I wondered what the other issues were that have been perhaps not getting the attention they deserved over the last couple of years that we now perhaps really need to focus on. Thanks.
What do you mean in particular for the sales force, or is that what you're referring to? I can choose. Right, that's very kind of you, Jonathan. Thank you. So yeah, of course, there were other issues we had as a business, which we haven't talked about yet. That was mainly supply chain. I think we all discovered from one moment to another that we had issues to basically produce our products, to manufacture them due to the interruptions in particular in Asia. So we had to adapt to that. We had to rethink how we do business in the future. We had to adjust our logistics, supply chain in general. I think this is something that was beside the challenges abroad for the sales force, a huge thing, because we had to rethink. We also had to consider being out of stock, which we normally don't want to be. Clearly, no one wants to be, but we had to, find ways to deal with it. So, and this is also something, lessons learned from the pandemic, what we changed, in terms of being more reactive in the future. So actually having a stock on site in terms of raw materials, sourcing to have products available in advance. So not to being so reliable on demand anymore. So yeah, this is one of the big aspects for us, which was, crucial.
Thanks. Now we're going to have the time for one final question, which I will take from online, and then I will turn to our panels for their final conclusion.
So the next question is addressed to Angela. Angela, how much training to pivot your teams online did you need to undertake to move through this business transformation?
Oh, look, lots of trainings, but I think the real answer to the question is not how much of it, how many people we trained, but how the training evolved as well. Because what happened is that traditional training where you'd have hours and hours to go through all aspects of the business, getting people, comfortable to ask questions, then check on the behavior change. That kind of traditional training is not working any longer. Again, because of the span of attention, especially in online environment, you simply cannot keep people's attention for too long. So it has to be an immersive experience. And it has to be short enough for people to really give their best of the focus and then really get back the information that they need, the one that is going to create that change in the way they look at things or the change the way they connect with the others. So I would say the answer is twofold, is that yes, we had a huge focus to really get a scale, to really reach a proper global scale of all the information we wanted to share. But I think the biggest change was the format of those trainings. It's a complete change versus the pre-pandemic levels in getting people not only to embrace change, but becoming themselves the change drivers, the change makers, and understanding the why behind everything that we are doing together.
Angela, thank you. And I want to stay with you for our final question. What is, in one sentence, the number one lesson that you keep with you from these last 2 years?
I think I have a personal lesson, and that I should always stay humble. Never assume that what I learned and experience I had so far will automatically give me the answer for today's situations. And as a business, I think what we've learned that change is a constant, yes, and we need to keep being curious, to have our appetite to explore, and then keep supporting one another, because what matters most at the end is how we created an experience that mattered.
Thank you, Angela. Melodie, top lesson from the last 2 years.
Gosh, purpose.
Purpose.
Right?
Great.
Purpose is incredibly important to guide your choices as a leader and empower your team, right?
Thank you. Beatrice?
Well, change is there to stay. And I think what we should all learn is to accept it as something positive instead of focusing our efforts on clinging on to something that we were used to know. I think instead of that, we should really focus on the future with full energy.
Thanks. Michael?
I would say in this turbulent and complex world, we need to be very simple in our offering to our brand partners and customers.
Okay, thanks. Dear friends, as you will have noticed, Marco Brandolini unfortunately couldn't make it with us today. It was planned for him to join us from South Africa, but we are very grateful indeed to our entire panel for being here with us, both here in Brussels and online. Would you please join me in thanking them very much?